While Thomas and Titus and I enjoyed the baseball game, the stay-at-home team had some adventures with Pete the Pack Rat, who did various things at the Lubbock KOA, and it ended up being somewhat thematic because later that night, Thomas heard a skittering and a raccoon came and stole one of our rolls. He later that evening got into the attic room and freaked out when he saw us watching him from the camper, climbed all over the whole thing before he finally made his way out through a crease. Hey honey, it's an 8-hour drive to Lubbock, but it's just straight 2-lane highway with nothing but wind turbines and oil rigs. Nothing could happen. You should drive. And then you get passed by a house. And by the time we got to Lubbock, everybody was so stir crazy that we went straight to the pool instead of making dinner to get some energy out, which they did. Ever since we had gone to the Manhattan Project site in Oak Ridge and found out there was one in Los Alamos, we had wanted to go there. But upon arrival, we discovered that it was closed because it was Thursday. So we did the walking tour and saw a lot of the sites and eventually found the statues of Oppenheimer and General Grimes and went to the museum and learned quite a bit about what happened at the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos and came back the next day for Junior Ranger. Went over in the afternoon to Bandelier National Monument, which was a great spot, walked around and got to explore the cave dwellings from the native peoples in this area and see the foundations of an incredibly huge community that used to live here, which again resulted in camper setup after dark. One advantage of having to wait to 10 a.m. in order to go to the Los Alamos Museum was that the adventure team got to take a speed hike that morning out to the Alcove House, which after a lot of ladders afforded wonderful views. And then we were on the road in the beautiful southwest towards Mesa Verde after a quick stop at a feed store in downtown Pagosa Springs for those of you who are Wolf Creek Pass fans. We ended up staying at Farview Lodge because I forgot to book a tour and the only way to get one was to stay at the lodge. But it indeed afforded far views, and we got to hike the next morning the Petroglyph Loop, which afforded great views of the canyons at Mesa Verde. They had some amazing rock structures as well as narrow rock passages and eventually petroglyphs before an eventful walk back. What did you find?
A tarantula. A baby one. A baby tarantula.
Tarantula.
He is a little guy.
I wonder
For the yucca plant.
That afternoon, we got to take our lodge tour, which was a 4-hour bus tour with a very knowledgeable guide. The highlight, of course, was Cliff Palace, and everyone was very pleased that we had opted for it.
What happened, Joey?
I yanked my tooth.
Where? That one? Where were you when you pulled it?
Right after Cliff Palace.
Titus and I finished the fall with beautiful fall colors and even a turkey, and eventually the stars came out as we pirated the Wi-Fi behind the restaurant and listened to the last of the 18-inning Mariners game, which ended sadly. And then we were off, headed to Grand Canyon via Four Corners, where we navigated the most rutted parking lot we have yet to navigate, and everyone got to be in 4 states at once, with the exception of me, as I kept my promise to the kids that I was not going to Utah. Driving in the Southwest then got a little less scenic as we drove into a storm, and we're very thankful that we had decided to skip Monument Valley and route to our first views of the Grand Canyon.
Okay, team. What are we getting ready to do?
Walk. 3.6 miles.
And what are we trying to go see?
Grand Canyon.
And where in the Grand Canyon?
Point. Oh, boy.
You excited for this, Joey?
No.
Are you gonna do it anyway?
Yes, I don't have to go to the 12-mile hike tomorrow.
Getting there turned out to be the easy part, and the views were spectacular. It was getting back that was a challenge.
Okay, Joey, what's ahead of us?
The switchback.
And if we can make it up all of those switchbacks, we'll be at the top of the canyon.
Of course, everyone made it back just fine, and we enjoyed one of the most unique movies we've watched at a visitor center before heading out to Desert View Tower. Joey was actually not kidding when he talked about not wanting to go on the 12-mile hike the next day. Gloria had decided she wanted to hike the entire South Rim Trail, so she and these 3 adventurers headed down to Hermit's Rest on the shuttle and got on the trail and hiked all the way across, marking the markers where they had then hiked their age in miles, and eventually made it, tired but weary, to the other end of the trail where they were able to catch the shuttle back to the station. Joey and I stayed home and did very important things. It was a lot of hard work and had some adventures of our own.
Well, we just got back, Joey and I, to the camper. But there's a bull elk over there and it was bugling. So I don't really know. I think we'll hang out in the car for a while. Give him some space. If that's all right.
He eventually wandered into somebody else's campsite and we were free to go pick up the adventure team.
The adventure team disembarks. After going 12.8 miles, they did the entire South Rim Trail. How was it, crew?
Tiring. We took some detours, so it turned out to be a half marathon.
A half marathon. You guys got 13.1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
Maybe the most fun part about Grand Canyon was that our package included breakfast at the lodge each morning, which was wonderful and warm. And after some repairs to our gas line that tried to come off, we were headed to the Hoover Dam.